Hi, this is Paul Sackis, Good News Planet. I'm speaking with Robert Dell. Hi, Robert. How are you?
I'm great, Paul. How are you today?
Okay, good. Robert's the president of the Water School, and we're going to learn a lot about Water School and waterschool.com. And we have one of the research scientists that's working with the Water School. It's Bradley Pierik. Hi, Bradley. How you doing?
Hi, Paul. I'm well, thanks.
Excellent. So, Robert, Bob, tell us what's going on here.
Well, as a snapshot, we started Water School in early 2007, so it's been a Canadian NGO for that length of time. We're registered as a charity in Canada and have operated that way, and recently got our 501c3 status in the United States, so we've just initiated going after donor funds in the United States.
Okay, and funds for what?
Well, what we do, we have a program of implementing clean water, mainly for kids. It's where I really got my feet wet, so to speak. But about 10 years ago when I visited Africa and saw the quality of the water that the children were drinking, and I learned that the greatest number of people that die from bad water are children under the age of 5 because they haven't developed an immune system that can take care of it. So the area that I first visited in Uganda, the mortality rate was up to 20% of children under the age of 5 from waterborne disease, and those that didn't die were sick and didn't go to school. So it was something we thought we could do something about and worked hard towards a solution. And that solution now that we're using with great success is teaching children, particularly at school. Our programs are mainly aimed there, and the communities, how to take water that's loaded with the bacteria and diseases that cause problems for them, put it in the sun in a plastic bottle for a few hours, and eliminate the pathogens. It's a teaching and training program, and it incorporates the other things that go with making them not be sick, and that's hand washing and good hygiene. So it's a teaching and training program, and it's something that's been very, very successful for us, particularly in East Africa, where we've spent most of our time.
So let me just ask you, let me ask a researcher. This works? You put the water in a clear bottle and you put it up to the sun for X amount of time, and it'll purify the water? Did I understand that right?
You did understand that right. And one of the biggest challenges we face is that it just sounds too good to be true, that both the effectiveness of that simple process in killing bacteria and viruses and different types of organisms is just amazingly effective, but also the impacts that we're able to have in communities using this simple technology. And I always have to throw in the caveat that this really works in the parts of the world where there's very strong sunlight. So it's recommended in what we call the 35-degree window, which means within 35 degrees latitude from the equator. So that happens to wrap the continent of Africa very well. And if you run that band around the world, that coincidentally happens to be covering all the places where this is really most necessary, where waterborne disease is really a large problem. But yeah, the simple answer is that yes, it does work incredibly well, and we have many, many studies that we've done and that others have done showing the huge reduction in bacterial contamination and viruses and other organisms just from putting your water under the UV light from the sun.
So is that 35 degrees north and south? I got a big globe in front of my nose right now.
Right, right. So if you look at 35 north and 35 south, you'll see that that roughly is the northern tip of Africa and the southern tip of Africa.
Creepers. That's great. So what do you, how, I mean, hasn't this been utilized and in mass?
Well, to tell you the truth, it has been recognized and studied and used for about 30 years. It was the technology was discovered by a a chemist at the American University of Beirut in Lebanon in the early 80s, who was doing some work on oral rehydration solutions, which we have to give to people, particularly children, when they get dysentery and diarrhea, and to rehydrate their bodies. And what he discovered was he had some great salts to deliver, but the mothers were making the solutions up with contaminated water. So he was running in a circle. He was the one that discovered when he put a bottle full of this bacteria-laden water out on his sill of his laboratory in the sun, that he put it out in the morning with high levels of E. coli and other bacteria, and took it down at night, and the numbers were zero. So
now, is this any? If you don't, sorry, mind that I'm just probing a little bit, just because it's so wonderful. I mean, there's all kinds of bacteria, right? Yeah. And so, is this specific to certain kinds of bacteria and not specific towards others?
Well, it destroys, I don't know what the total list is, but the most important thing is it does destroy the bacteria that are most impacting on dysentery, diarrhea, and other diseases. Typhoid, cholera, it kills the cholera bacteria very well, which has certainly been an issue in Haiti. And Bradley was in Haiti a couple of months ago, and he can attest to the fact that the programs that we initiated there about a year ago are getting very good results in destroying the cholera bacteria.
Let's give us the latest from your observations in Haiti.
Well, let Bradley address that, because he's.
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry, Bradley, please.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of working with our staff in Haiti and in the Dominican Republic a few months ago, and I'll be back again soon. And it's really been an interesting situation for us there, because we started working in Haiti just a short time before the earthquake hit last year, and then the cholera epidemics that followed. So just because of the way the timing worked out, we happened to have some communities using the Water School program before these disasters, so we could really compare what impact did our programs have compared to other communities that had no intervention during the course of these various disasters. And of course, we weren't expecting an earthquake or a cholera outbreak beforehand, so we don't have the full statistical analysis of what happened, but we have abundant reports from the people in these communities that they're so grateful that we were working there, because they had much lower incidence of cholera than neighboring communities. So that has been really encouraging for us to keep on going and working hard, and be encouraged to see those results. But it also gives us credibility with the communities there, that they can see, wow, the schools that are using the Water School program and the families that have adopted it are really having a significantly improved health. So that's really been a key part of our early growth in Haiti, is the credibility and the success that we've already been able to have there.
Great. And I'm looking, I love when someone has the words, the good news here. I'm looking through your brochure here, Bob. And
yeah,
says,
and also, Paul, I mentioned to you that now on our website we put up our 2010 annual report, and one of the pages there, which you can download, is on Haiti, and a couple of really excellent testimonies from people that were spared the cholera epidemic because of our program.
Marvelous, wonderful. Let me, sort of maybe briefly, give us the solution, the Water School 3-step program. How does that work?
Well, the 3-step program is to use the introduction of this very simplistic water treatment by ultraviolet rays of the sun in a bottle, to use that as the entry point, because it's simple to teach, it's easy to teach, and people, most importantly, have the materials there. One of the things that we spent a lot of time on was not sending in a Western-based hardware solution to the problem, but trying to find something that people could do locally and sustainably. So these bottles are manufactured every major city in every country in the world. They can put them out on a platform. It doesn't have to be pretty, any simple platform. So we teach them that, and at the same time we also make them understand where bacteria and where germs come from, in the water, which leads into washing hands, and then also having good hygiene and containing fecal matter. So it becomes a three-step, and I think the acronym that's now used in the industry is WASH, Water, Sanitation, and Hygiene. So it's a WASH program.
Sounds wonderful. Bradley, any thoughts additional that you'd like to share at this moment?
I think the thing that we really feel is the water school's biggest value add is that the projects that the water school is able to create are truly sustainable in the community. In fact, because it's based on education instead of being based on products that require a supply chain and maintenance and troubleshooting and disposal and all this stuff, by just using education, we can actually go into a community, work with the existing education programs, and set up the water school intervention. And after a certain point, it reaches a tipping point in the community where, because everybody understands and can see the impact and is using the program, water school itself can actually step back and not be involved anymore. And we're just starting to reach that point in some of our earliest sites that we started a few years ago, where we can now start talking about moving on and not having to dedicate any staff there and not having to stay involved. And of course, we're always a phone call away in case there's any need for us. But I think that's a really beautiful thing, especially when we talk to donors who increasingly people donating to projects like this are really giving a hard look at what is going to be the impact of my dollar in this program. And I think that our ability to achieve sustainability that way is something really special that we really focus on and make sure to keep a central part of our goals in each community.
Great. Bob, how can people help? How can the general population, everybody listening to this, how can they get involved?
Well, we are funded mainly from private donations. For the years that Fraser, my partner, and I have done this, we've literally received no government funding. We've done it with private donors and churches and Rotary clubs and things like that. What's really interesting now, and Bradley mentioned to you, the success model is such that now we have schools in areas where we have been working that are not in the impact areas, but outside, that are asking us if we can come and help them. So really, at this stage, it's funding we need. Here's another thing that's interesting, Paul. The cost to give a child clean water for life in this program is $10. So $10 will give a child clean water for life. That's the total cost. So what we wind up doing is going to donors and saying, if we do a school of 1,000 children costs $10,000. So a $10,000 donation actually does the whole school, teaching, education, equipment, and up to 3 to 5 years of monitoring. And the other spin-off is that those children now know how to do it properly and take that home to their community, and they become the teachers in their community. So our real need is funding, and we've just started our work in the United States. We've been very successful in Canada, but we know the United States is the biggest donor market in the world, and we just want to get out and tell our story.
Beautiful. And the website is?
www.waterschool.com.
Okay, great. Well, congratulations. Thank you. I'm going to make this part of our Water Hour series. Obviously, your guys both have passion. I've met your associate also. He's as passionate as can be as well. So you're doing good. So thank you for doing it. Water is, unfortunately, an amazingly gigantic concern for those who can get to water and those, in essence, don't even have water, right? That's a whole nother scenario. For you to be able to clean the water, it's unbelievable. Unfortunately, I've never heard about this to this degree. So we'll be proud to share this with our audience. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you. I'm glad we had the chance to inform people.
One last question to each one of you. Bradley, what's good news for you?
Good news is when we get to go see the looks in the faces of the people who our projects serve and hear them tell us the stories of their kids who are now healthy, their families who are now healthy, and the transformation that's happened in their communities.
Beautiful. Bob, good news for you.
I would say exactly the same. No amount of money can replace seeing a child that didn't even go to school 3 or 4 years ago because they were so sick with waterborne disease, and then go back and watch them graduate at the top of their class and then get an entrance into the best school, high school in the country, and that happened just recently.
That's great, and you're saving lives. Bottom line stuff. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you very much for doing this, and we'll be honored to include this and continue our conversation to see how we might be able to help as well.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.